All right, so welcome to the next Q&A, and as you can see, it's an Invader Zim Q&A. I want to thank everyone who asked questions for this one, and as always, if you want to be part of these Q&As, just hit the link in the description box below, hit the first tier, that'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, let's get started with this one. So our first question comes from Gordon Rajani, who asks, well, first set of questions, I should say. Gordon Rajani's first question is, what are some of your favorite Invader Zim episodes? Probably, I like the TAC episode. I really enjoy, I enjoy the, what was it, Gaz's episode where she's trying to get the Vampire Piggies episode. I forget that one. I also really enjoy the Planet two-part, the episode of Battle of the Planets. That's a fun one. And what was it? Gergo's Crazy and Stuff. That's another good one. It's just hard because I like a lot of the show. There's a lot of great. It's hard to pick like favorite episodes because I could easily say all of them. Second question. Zim faces off against Wander from Wander Over Yonder. Can Wander manage to befriend the Urkin, or he simply drive Zim insane? I think he'd honestly just drive Zim crazy. I think he would just, Zim would be, Gur would be the one who'd be like, yay, gift basket! And Zim would be like, Gur, put down the Orange Muppets gift basket. God, I can't talk that fast. So that two would those two colliding with each other, I think, would be a lot of fun of seeing them try to pick fights with each other, or Wander being like, "Hey there, my little green friend, how would you like some quiche for breakfast? Get away with me, be gone with your quiche." Anyway, that's how I feel. So I think it'd be the latter more than the former. Third question. The show is infamous for having gross and creepy moments. Which one freaked you out the most back in the day? I think the one that was the grossest. Because there's another someone asked the question darkest episode, and I do have an answer for that. But when Zim's the organs episode, I think that's I know it's an easy answer, but let's be real, it is the organs episode. And also there was another episode where Gaz is trying to get get Dib to go all cleaned up for a pizza place, and the guy unzips the pig costume, and he's just this morbidly obese, just mountains of fat. It was gross. Anyway, so thank you for that. Thank you for those questions, Gordon. Moving on now to Hunter Johnson, who asks, have you seen the Clash of the Nicktoons where Zim had to go up against Jenny and had Zim be the winner, which is rubbish because Jenny would beat Zim, but I think it was that was voted on. I don't think that was it was fan voted. So yeah, realistically though, Jenny would mop the floor with Zim. Second question: What would happen if the Urkin Empire went to war with the Gem homeworld of Steven Universe? Well, the thing is that the Urkins I kind of compare to the Skaven in space. There's just so many of them that they just drown you in oceans of green, and it does seem outside of Zim, the Urkin war machine is pretty competent. It's actually a pretty they actually have proper weapons and invaders and whatnot. We just see it through the eyes of an idiot. So, and their idiots are kind of dumb as well. Whereas the Gem Empire, it's very clear that the Gem Empire was on its last legs. They were barely holding it together for the couple thousand years. Even Peridot said that, gems were becoming more and more diluted, things like that. It was also very clear that the Urkins were, the Gems, the Gem leadership was also being literally just run by Yellow at one point. It was very clear Yellow was running the show, and she was a more competent leader, but still, but keep in mind, Gem still had, world-ending tech, same with the Urkins. I think it would just be, I would almost be even keel in a matchup, but if I'm being honest, I think the Gems would still pull it out. And third question: What would Professor Membrane think of Professor Utonium from Powerpuff Girls? I think he would be like, "Oh, Professor Utonium, you're so beautiful, you're so amazing with your thermodynamics and chemical X. But we could make the gods tremble before us if we combined our mass intellect." I don't think I should hang out with you anymore, Professor. That's Professor Utonium talking to Membrane. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Hunter. Moving on now to Christopher Rosa, who asks, what do you think of the Invader Zim Enter the Florpus movie? I like it. It's very clear that Jonan Vasquez, though, it was very clear that, like, he was in a more lighter state. The movie's not as dark as you would think. It does take a lot of inspiration from the Oni Press Comics that he had actually written the first story arc for. And it's very clear that, like, it's very clear that he had a more soft, it was his more softer side, but it still felt like Zim. It still felt like an Invader Zim movie. I think it's pretty good, and it is more of a Dib movie than a Zim movie. But I enjoyed it. Anyway, second question. I was wondering if you noticed how Dib and Gaz's characteristics evolved in the comics and movie. For example, Dib needed to be acknowledged as his weakness for his weaknesses, and Gaz is slightly nicer while still being mean. What do you think of those new characteristics? I think it's fine. I think you could, like, again, I think it goes back to, like, Jonan Vasquez being more, I think it really stands more that Jonan Vasquez is, was kind of in a more lighter place, so he wanted to express that through Dib and Gaz's sibling characters. Yeah, that's just how I felt about it. Third question. How would you do an Invader Zim crossover where Zim exists in a universe where government and superhero communities are aware of existence, and how would they handle him? Oh, this is, like, we could tie this right back to the Infinityverse real quick. Yeah, in the Infinityverse, the shared fanfiction universe me and Jason Voorhees 2011 write together, Zim is there. Like, Zim is there, and he's treated more as a nuisance by literally the government, the superhero community, and the supervillain community. Like, no one in the universe takes him seriously. The only times, like, he's been considered a credible threat was, we do reference the Florpus incident, and just call it the Florpus incident, and when Zim also hijacked Mars and Mercury, but that was dealt with by Sailor Mars and Mercury. So, in other words, Zim isn't really, Zim is in no way, shape, or form treated as, like, a real credible threat. He's treated more as, like, a minor annoyance than anything else. Sorry, I had to get some water. Always remember to hydrate, boys and girls. So, that's how I feel about it. Just kind of apply that to anything, really. Thank you for those questions, Rosa. Moving on now to Bill McLaughlin, who asks, do you think Invader Zim revival is possible? I don't think so, for a multitude of reasons. I think Jonan Vasquez and his creative team have too much say and a lot of creative control over that property. And if it was, now keep in mind, it is Nickelodeon's IP, but I think even they realize they can't recapture that magic without Vasquez and Eric Trueheart behind it. So I really don't think that that's going to be, and even if they tried to do it, even if you got someone else, you could have just, like, it could easily just be a mess. Not only that, Paramount has been very, their animation department has been in the shitter for a while. I mean, literally, the only thing keeping Nickelodeon alive at this point is SpongeBob. Think on that. Yeah, so I don't think Invader Zim... it's not because, the show would be wokeified, or, you can't do the same thing over again. It's like you can't do those things because it would be censored. Even back then, Invader Zim was heavily censored. No, the problem is that you really could not, for the life of anyone, you quite literally could not, in any way, shape, or form, recapture that magic. I think even Jonan Vasquez knows he can't do it again. I think Vasquez and Trueheart know they can't recapture what they did before. There's no way on earth they can do that. They could recapture that. They've gotten a little lighthearted. And I think it's just better to let the property just lie. Anyway, thank you for that question. Your second question, Bill's second question is, who would you want to write an ongoing Invader Zim series? I guess like comic, which there was at Oni Press. But let's say like like Invader Zim got another comic, and who would I pick for writer? I think Donny Cates would be fun. Donny Cates would be a really fun title. I think he'd be a fun writer. I think he would capture a lot of Vasquez's classic like mutilation and dark humor, but also have like this absolute metal feel to it as well. So, also Zim would get chains, because chains are cool, according to Todd McFarlane and Donny Cates. So, I think Donny Cates would be good. I also think, what's his name? The creator of I Hate Fairyland. I can't remember his name, but the creator of I Hate Fairyland. Oh my god, that's even more perfect than Donny Cates now that I think about it. Yeah. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but like the guy who created I Hate Fairyland, he also wrote the Wizard of Oz comics for Marvel, and he also did the Rocket Raccoon and Groot series. Yeah, the style of humor and kind of manic energy, and also just graphic stuff you would need with it. I think, yeah, he'd be and also writing and doing the artwork for an Invader Zim comic. Yeah, but yeah, creator of I Hate Fairyland. Now, the more I think about it, yeah. Third question. If Zim somehow ever got into contact with Lord Thankful, how long would it take before the two got at each other's throats? 5 seconds. Literally 5 seconds. I've actually been thinking about wanting to do like a Zim versus Thankful crossover fanfiction video. So yeah, I might delve into that further. But yeah, it would take all of 5 seconds for things to just go absolutely sideways. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Bill. Moving on now to David Deister, who asks, what was your first introduction to Invader Zim? First episode. I was there. I was there when the ancient magic was written. I'm that old, boys and girls. I was there when the show premiered. I was there when the show first premiered and had its first few episodes. I can't remember where I was exactly. I think I was. I was at my dad used to work as a firefighter in my youth, so he would have this break room. And in that break room, it literally had a TV you could watch shows on. And my brother and I switched over to Invader Zim, and that's how we saw the premiere. I think that's it. I might be wrong, but I think that's how it happened. I might be thinking wrong, but I definitely saw the premiere when it first showed up. So there you go. So that was my introduction. How is your favorite... Okay, what is your favorite and least favorite character from Invader Zim? Okay, favorite and least favorite. Least favorite, let's start with least favorite first. I would have to say, like, if I was to pick, like, a least favorite character, I'd probably go with someone like... There's really not a least favorite. But if I had to, I'd say Professor Membrane, probably because, like, he's just there for expositoring shit and leaving, and also being like, oh, my crazy son. Favorite character? Probably Degaz. Just fucking awesome. Yeah. So there you go. Third question. What would Ripley think from Aliens think of Zim? She'd probably punt kick him into... she'd probably just punt kick him into, like, the next block, possibly. Just think he's the most annoying shit ever. So there you go. Thank you for those questions, David. Moving on now to Cyborg19.99, who asks, what other cartoons, video games, anime, movie would you cross over with Invader Zim? Oh, boy. I guess, like, I'd probably say for... What was it? Probably for cartoons, I'd probably say Gravity Falls. For video game, Psychonauts for obvious reasons. Anime, gonna go with a fun one and go Girls und Panzer. It's like My Little Pony, but with tanks. So just to have Zim in a tank would be fun. Movie? Titan AE. Why not? Fuck it. Second question. What would the Urkins and the Shi'ar from Marvel think of each other? Oh, the Shi'ar would absolutely, first off, just trounce the... yeah, they would obviously just absolutely trounce the Urkins. I also think the Urkins would think too highly of themselves and then get absolutely booty clapped by the Shi'ar. That's how I think it would go. Thank you for this question, Cyborg. Moving now to Tom Hibbert, who asks, I know it's in the show's premise, but how do you find it a bit weird that we follow Zim as the antagonist and the protagonist as Dib? Oh, okay. Basically asking, like, Zim's the villain, but we're following him, and when in reality we should be following, like, Dib. I think that's kind of the fun of it, that we're basically getting a full villain show. I think that's the fun part, is that Zim, and we're following Zim as the villain, but we're rooting for him because he's he's so fascinating. Not to say Dib isn't cool, like, interesting too, but it's a fun flip, if you ask me. It's a lot of fun to see that dichotomy between the two. Yeah. Second question. Do you think Invader Zim felt more like a Cartoon Network show than a Nickelodeon show due to how dark it could get? Yeah. I think it was supposed to go to Cartoon Network, if I'm being honest. I think, honestly, it was... Yeah, I think it was originally pitched to Cartoon Network, but they passed on it. So Nickelodeon was like, hey, we'll take it. Which is kind of it's kind of weird because usually Nickelodeon passes on a lot of stuff that becomes gold somewhere else. It still amazes me that, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender was not passed on by Nickelodeon. It still, like, amazes me. But yeah. It does feel more like a Cartoon Network show than a Nickelodeon show, but I digress. Third question. If you had to make an Invader Zim video game, how would you do it? Probably make it in the vein of... I'd probably make it in the vein of, like, Destroy All Humans. Just apply everything that was with this Destroy All Humans and place it with... to an Invader Zim game. Yeah, that's how I do it. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Tom. Moving on now to Jason Voorhees 2011. First question. What were your thoughts on the Oni Press Comics? I love them. I only have a few volumes. I think I only have the first 3 volumes. I would love to collect the others. But I really enjoyed them. They were a great continuation and felt like... they felt like the classic show. Like, you could hear all the voices to each character. They are so much fun. I wish they continued. I really did. Or is it still continuing? I don't know. I know they rebooted it, but I haven't heard anything since. Favorite Gurr quote. It was me! I was the turkey the whole time! I was wondering why that turkey was there. Yeah. The third question. Had the show not gotten canceled, how would you have brought Tack back in a follow-up episode of her debut? I would probably say, how I'd probably do it, because there were that was the idea, was that they originally wanted to bring Tack back as, like, the actual series finale villain. So maybe have it that Tack has returned, but this time around she's made a comeback and is a little more unstable because, like, first off, she got beaten by Zim. That already fucked her up. Now, and she got left with Mimi, who was freaking out. So it's left her a lot more unstable and a lot more unpredictable to face. But now she's like Zim, but way more unstable. And even, like, I would even have, like, a moment where Zim is like, is that me? Is that what you have to deal with, Dib Human? I'm kind of sorry. So that's kind of one idea. Or I would have it that Tack actually... here's the other more competent answer, actually. The honest answer, that's the more fun one, but the honest one would be, I would have it that Tack has usurped the Tallest, and now leads the Urkin Empire. And out of sheer just fuck you, Zim, she goes back to Earth with the whole Urkin fleet to invade and destroy Earth. Yeah, that's how I would do it. That's your real like endgame boss right there. Yeah, takes over the Urkin Armada and proceeds to try to attack Earth, and there's your series finale. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That's the Invader Zim Q&A. I would like to thank everyone who sent in questions, and yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below what you guys think of this. And like I said, if you'd like to be part of the next Q&A, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.